So I literally just got done with Stargirl Season 2, Episode 6. And my God, they aren't messing around this season. How's it going, fellow members of the new JSA? Welcome to my no spoiler review. Do not worry, let me put this out there right away. I am not going to give anything away, but just nothing but impressions and vibes of Stargirl Season 2, because thanks to Warner Brothers, I have been given the opportunity to watch more or less the first half of Season 2. There's 13 episodes, I've seen up to Episode 6, and as I just said in that intro, I just got done with Episode 6. And my God, like, I couldn't put it any other way. So this should give you a really good idea of what to vibe with Season 2. And as I said in my Suicide Squad no spoiler review, I kind of feel that no spoiler reviews are kind of best spoken from the heart, just because it just gives you the most raw impression. And that's what I'm seeking, really, to give you guys. So sit back, relax, grab a drink. Like, I've got some water here. I wish it was coffee or something, but I needed to record this right away. And if you want a true impression of the first few, well, 6 episodes, half season of Stargirl Season 2, this is the video for you. Go ahead and like it if you do go on to enjoy it, and subscribe for episode breakdowns when the episodes release, of course, on August 10th. And don't forget, tomorrow I am posting my review for the first 5 episodes of Titans Season 3. Very same get up as this video, so make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you don't miss tomorrow's video and impressions on Titans Season 3 as well. Now, even though I said speaking from the top of my head, it mainly is, I've got a couple of bullet points just in case I forgot something. But first of all, you know, if you see me looking over there, it's because there's some notes that I need to address. But the first one that makes the most sense to me right off the bat, what would I want to know as a fan? Like, genuinely about Stargirl Season 2, what's the first thing that comes to my mind? And I think some people, even though I think quite a few people are reassured by this now for Jeff Johns coming out about it and talking about it, the move to the CW. Because even though it's been clarified that there wouldn't be any changes, most of the costs of like a season and its first season have already kind of been made. You know, the staff, the effects, Stripesy, and all of that. So when it comes to Season 2, it wouldn't really have much changes. And why would they completely change it up to the procedural format that The Flash has, or the other CW shows that haven't made that upgrade, so to speak, for example, that Superman and Lois has, and Stargirl, but technically the DC Universe streaming service made that upgrade first. But we had heard that they're following suit with the first season, and is that true? Well, I am very happy to tell you it is. You probably got that impression from the trailers anyway. Everything is the same, and if not, they capitalize on the strengths of what we loved most about Season 1 in terms of cinematography, the effects, like everything is the same, if not better. Like, I couldn't put it any other way. That's not me trying to blow smoke for the CW or anything. I'm just trying to reassure you that nothing has changed because the CW has purchased, you know, the rights for Stargirl, and now they can distribute it as their own. I really want to hammer that into anyone who has any doubts that everything from the storytelling as well, that's a very important thing, it's just as plot driven. Like, seriously, just as plot driven. It's not villain of the week or anything like that. None of that's magically come into this. They're maintaining the status quo from Stargirl Season 1 in Season 2. So you guys have nothing to worry about there. Now, I believe on my second bullet point here, the first episode, Jeff Johns has already teased, if I remember correctly, that apparently it has a very scary intro. And it does. I mean, I'm not one to get really scared, but in terms of like what I can appreciate on screen, it is a very creepy kind of intro that sets up the tone very, very well for Season 2. Especially considering what the new JSA are up against. And if you didn't know already, the Shade is coming this season, but also somebody else by the name of Eclipso. But you should know that already from the little tease of Cindy Berman finding the Black Diamond at the end of last season. So other than that initial tease, what's going on at the minute? Obviously with no spoilers, from what the trailers are showing and as what you guys should be able to vibe from that, Stargirl is very eager at the minute to scout around Blue Valley all nights of the week, whilst the other JSA members are a bit like, yeah, you know, and you can understand why Stargirl is mega vigilant, the kind of psychology behind it. We've seen her journey in Season 1. She went from somebody who believed she was a legacy JSA new recruit to not being that, and then obviously they defeated the ISA, and now, like, she's kind of like pure superhero mode. Like, I need to turn under every rock to find someone. But even though it appears as the girl who cried wolf, so to speak, we kind of know anyway, just from the villains that are coming this season, Jade and Eclipso, that she's not wrong, especially with Cindy lurking out there somewhere with quite the diabolical plan in her mind. But as a result of this, what I was trying to get to is the kind of subtitle of this season. It's called Stargirl Season 2 Summer School. Like, that will be on the title sequence every episode you see, Summer School, because obviously with her antics of wanting to be a superhero, she's very much so neglecting her schoolwork. That enrolls her into summer school. But don't worry, just in case anybody thinks like it's high school stuff all the time, it really isn't. Like, the high school, it's like she's in summer school, but it's not gonna overtake everything with high school drama. So don't think it's still very much so following suit with Stargirl Season 1 with the investigation, what's going on when things crop up, and just more things like that. But one thing I was very happy with, like, so as I've kind of just described there's this kind of big overarching kind of story, the summer school thing set up, the vigilance of Stargirl, looking around, trying to wait for things to crop up, is slowly cooking in the background, because as you can probably guess, things do eventually crop up. But what I was really happy with, and not that it's a massive surprise, but, Season 2, they've defeated the ISA in Season 1, so some people may think, what story is there? One thing I will say is, there is lots of story. Do not be worried about that. But to get back to the main point, is that I was really happy at how much of a good job they did at addressing the individual stories for each new JSA member this season. When I say new JSA member, I still mean the JSA members of Season 1, but you know what I'm trying to say. Each JSA member, from Rick to Beth to Yolanda, Courtney herself, and just various characters, they all have their own little, imagine if you're going down a road, the paths diverge. They have their own concentrated dose of story, and each one is extremely relevant to the character. There's no sense of boredom whenever you do get like an isolated scene with Beth Chapel and what's going on with her, or what's going on with Rick is super, super intriguing. Now, I'm not going to get into details as to what is going on with each character. I mean, you can probably guess with Yolanda, for example, as what's been teased from the showrunner and the actors themselves, that she's going through some things and dealing with the repercussions of Brainwave, with his murder when she killed him. We also, of course, have, like, follow-up threads from last season with Beth and Dr. Midnight's goggles. Like, it's really intriguing, and I just want to convey through the screen, it really is nice to get this character development that you just don't really feel from some of the other CW shows. And you guys all know my opinion on that. I did a video not so long ago talking about why Superman and Lois, and Stargirl in brackets, but that was a dedicated video to Superman and Lois, is so much better than the other CW shows. I still, don't get me wrong, have a place in my heart for things like The Flash, but the main thing there, just to end this tangent here and now, is that is really outdated. And when you see shows like The Flash carrying on that way, but then you see Superman and Lois, and then further to the point, Stargirl, with their approach, main plot stuff, it is so, especially after just seeing 6 episodes, you need to follow suit with this CW. You have to. And I know I'm reviewing, ironically enough, a CW show, Stargirl. But this is why it's kind of baffling. Because this is, another bullet point. This is what I mean by character-driven stuff. Or episodes, shows, superhero shows. Bottom line, follow suit with this and Superman and Lois. The bar needs to be met now. I feel like the bar is here. It has to be met. Well, after seeing that half a season of Stargirl Season 2, and then obviously with the context of seeing Superman and Lois most of Season 1, like most of us all have, you can't not do it now. You have to. Now, another thing I just wanted to chuck in here before talking about Green Lantern, the Shade, and things like that is I made a little bullet point of, there's lots of cool little Easter eggs like last season. Stuff that made me think, like, like the gif of Leonardo DiCaprio from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like, seriously, there are moments where I was like, and it's just, I don't know, to me, and obviously making these videos, even if I wasn't, even as just like pure fan, just watching the TV show, there are moments, for example, just to give you some clues, when Courtney's looking at certain JSA files that you've seen in the trailer, there are some very, very cool Easter eggs from other characters in the DC universe that you're like, my god, they actually just showed that. Things like, for example, that we saw last season with like Green Arrow and the Shining Knight and Speedy in that photo, stuff like that crops up, and you know, we're going to get more into that in the specific breakdown videos, which, by the way, probably should have mentioned this at the beginning. I'm still going to be doing episode breakdown videos. This is just a non-spoiler review overall video of season 2, or at least the first half. Don't worry, there still will be episode specific breakdowns coming. But back onto the main point, I was giddy with what they decided to put in as Easter eggs. It is super cool. Now, as far as the ISA is concerned and Cindy and stuff, I can't get too deep into this, but from the trailers or even the end of last season or whatever, we've seen her go into the ISA headquarters. Let's just say Cindy has a plan, and the acts of villainy from the Injustice Society of America are far from over. It's really cool seeing all of that come to fruition as well. There's a lot going on, a lot of layers. So you have Eclipso, you know, going on. Obviously, that relates to Cindy a little bit as well. You have the Shade with his agenda, and that's a mystery. 6 episodes in, there's still clouded stuff even for me. But then you have other characters that you can't forget about, like Cameron Marquand. You know, Jordan Marquand, Icicle's son. Obviously, there are little plot threads of Icicle Jr. being set up last season. You're gonna wanna watch these episodes to see where things go. It's just, there's lots of greatness from other legacy characters. Like, put the new JSA aside for a minute. Let's talk about the Fiddler's son, Isaac Bowen, or Artemis Croc, or maybe Icicle Jr. Things like that, guys, is, yeah. All I'm gonna say is, don't forget about them. But now, with this far in the video, how have I not spoken about one of the most anticipated things to come to this season? Because that is the Green Lantern, and because we haven't seen anything Green Lantern-wise in a long time in live action. So Green Lantern. Green Lantern. I swear, if I had a close-up on my eyes of the green energy being reflected off the TV as I saw the screeners, I was probably like, ah! Like, seriously. You know that moment in the trailer? Let's just say I've seen moments like this, and that is really, really cool. I really don't want to overhype things, but the energy I'm feeling right now, and maybe that you're getting through this camera lens, is really genuine. Like, I am very, very happy. To put it down to a few points, the story for the Green Lantern, or the new Green Lantern, if you will, that we've seen in the trailers, Alan Scott's daughter, it's really interesting story there. There's some surprises as well, of course, and this is one thing I want to emphasize, but I'll get into a little bit later. There are surprises this season. Some things that you might not expect, that you may have really had such conviction for with whatever you had in your mind pertaining to certain characters going into the season. I would say just temper that, because you're going to be surprised with some things. And also, just overall, the Green Lantern, the new Green Lantern, if you will, it's brought to amazing fruition. I think the effects, if you will, like, I mean, from at least what I saw, I'm more than happy with it. And really, it does feel like the effects are, as I mentioned at the beginning of this review, they're unchanged, so you don't need to worry about that. The cosmic staff looks just as good and whatnot. So when you're seeing Green Lantern, like, energy blipping off of the lantern, or the new Green Lantern herself, Alan Scott's daughter, then you'll see what I mean. You'll see what I mean. It's just following suit with the effects department, that whatever they were using before. It is still just as good. Green Lantern-wise, it's very satisfying from what I've seen in the first 6 episodes. So, what about Sylvester Pemberton? That was a little teaser, so this is going to be very short but sweet. Can't obviously say too much about the Sylvester Pemberton and whatever the heck is going on with him at the end of last season, looking for Pat Dugan, if you guys remember when he pulled up. That is a slow burner as far as I can tell, but it is definitely being cooked up to be something larger. Now, before I save some of the best for last with the Shade and stuff, I want to talk about Mike. So Mike is a lot more in this season, and honestly, him being in the fold a lot more this season, as I suspected from the trailers as well, I really enjoyed it. I really did, because on paper, I think I would have maybe been a bit more concerned, like, with seeing him being more involved on paper, because it's like he's a bit younger than the other new JSA members, and what kind of scenes are you going to give him if he's not a new JSA member and whatnot. But I'm very happy, and the thing I am happy about with what I'm trying to articulate here is that it's very organic. Because if you read on paper that Mike's going to be more in the season, and you don't really know what purpose he would serve, it's like, well, isn't that going to be kind of forced? But no, it's very good. He is his father's son. That's a really nice story and parallel that they kind of like to play a little bit this season. And his antics with the pink pen, and from what you guys have been teased with in the trailer, yeah. And that makes me want to talk about the pink pen. So, well, fantastic, absolutely fantastic seeing the Thunderbolt come to fruition. The voice actor of Jim Gaffigan suits him perfectly. Like, seriously, I just feel like, I wish I could just inject what I've seen into your minds, because there's so many things going on. It's just like, I almost forgot if I hadn't put that bullet point down there to talk about this, because I feel like I've covered a lot of bases already. But no, there's still the Pink Pen to talk about. So that's still going on in this season, and I haven't even got to the Shade or Eclipso yet. So Jim Gaffigan really, like, and with what Jeff Johns is doing here, none of this is any surprise. He's curating Stargirl, his baby, if you will, to a very good fruition that pleases not only just him, I'm sure, because this is his baby, but the fans. If it pleases him, the creator, then we're just going to be, you can assume it's good stuff. And when you see characters like the Thunderbolt come to life, it's interesting. They do a little bit of a twist on it, but also another twist on that twist. Don't, as I keep saying, don't expect, and this is what I always say about adaptations, it's not always copy and paste, even from Jeff Johns, the creator of Stargirl himself. It's there's a few little spanners thrown in the mix, and it's really, really cool. And yeah, I can't wait for you guys to see the little Thunderbolt pop out the pen, shall we say. Another aspect I kind of wanted to revisit, because I've kind of mentioned it a little bit, but I really want to capitalize upon it in this part, is with the mysteries and surprises, there are some, it still is happening. So do you remember from season 1, like, you might end an episode and it ends on a moment where it's like, what? And you get like that kind of shocked Pikachu face moment, which I keep referring to. That still happens. Like, seriously, some moments are like in the middle of an episode or something, but there's still some really cool cards that they've got up their sleeve that I still really didn't expect. Like, there's moments where certain things happen right in the last scene and you're like, no. But then there's even larger mysteries kind of on top of that I don't even have an answer for yet, and that has been put on the back burner for quite a little while now. And that's just super intriguing, because as you can imagine, I'm 6 episodes in now and there's still some shady, excuse the pun there, to the point where it's like, genuinely, I'm dying to know what is going on with regards to what I'm teasing you, so this might not make any sense to you guys. And then to just put on that even more, there's even more. But some of the best for last, guys, the Shade. So I can't help but gush over him. I really do feel like, I believe Jonathan Cake, who's playing the role of the Shade, he is excellent. Like, seriously, yet again, I don't want to seem like I'm overhyping it, but he is a very fascinating character that is introduced in this season, because we had some context to him in season 1, like he left the ISA for some reason or another. We've seen from the trailers that he's bad news, and yeah, from what maybe you might already know about him as a comic book character, he's not necessarily straight up villain, but he's far from a hero at the same time. He's not a hero, like, put that out of your mind. So he's a very complex character, and he's just, what more can I say than bloody fascinating. The way Jonathan Cake kind of plays his character, he's very kind of like prim and proper in the way he composes himself, the way he speaks, every scene, and I don't mean to try and like exaggerate language here, but it's very, very like I'm engrossed in every scene he's in. He's not like, you, for example, if you're expecting like Eclipso to be like the one that you're like engrossed with in every scene, that's the same for the Shade as well. That's one thing I need to commend them on. They've got 2 kind of poised up characters this season that are, of course, as one would assume, like, not exactly the good guys. And they're I would say that, from what I've seen in 6 episodes, just as interesting as the other one. But like, yeah, back to the Shade, like, it's just such a compelling story. I am a sucker for like being drip fed things, and that's the way it unfolds throughout the first few episodes of the Shade. Like, things aren't, you know, the context isn't all there, and it still kind of isn't for me, and that's what I love. Like, so you will be on top of all of the other intriguing and interesting factors that I've already listed, from other characters, isolated stories, to overarching things. Like, you've got more and more layers with other things that will keep making you pull and tune into each episode every week. At least that's what I believe, and I feel like I know my audience, and if you guys enjoy this show, you will be enjoying coming back each week for many different reasons, and the Shade is most certainly one of them. But Eclipso, all I've got in my bullet point here is Eclipso dash, my god. Yeah, I don't really want to say too much about Eclipso because of spoilers, but one thing I will say is bringing a comic book character like that to life. We can pull up, obviously, the image of him. We know what he looks like. And one thing I commend shows like this on for is that makeup and stuff like that, it has come a long way, at least with these new shows. I feel like if it was one of the early CW shows, he wouldn't look nearly as good, for example, but he does look good when he's on screen. Like, it is demonic, he's like, he's something else. He is creepy, and it is fantastic. Now, as I said, I could have just said all of that just about the poster. But when you see him in action, even when, let me just put it this way, you don't see him like in the flesh, like as you see in this poster, he's got other ways of being in the story that definitely trickle along the kind of diabolical evilness that he is sowing. I don't know how else to articulate this. It's quite hard, but the way he is kind of seeping his way into the season and the story with everything else that's going on, he is not to be underestimated. He is somebody that is also like, how are the JSA going to solve this? Like, seriously, like this is bad. And that is something that I'm very happy to report makes a second season's one of the antagonists, if you will, very, very, very appropriate. Like, I'm not bored, I'm not thinking this is crap. I'm not thinking anything other than what the hell is going on. I need to know more. Like, Jesus, how are they going to stop this? Oh my, yeah. So the fact that I'm feeling in that way should basically tell you guys that Eclipso, they've got some really, I was about to say cool shite cooking this season, but like they have got some, they've got some dynamite. So I also really want to visit the action because that's something I really do feel like they have done so well with. Like, really well with. Like, leagues beyond what even, like, Arrow vigilante action, like, seriously, that's cool and stuff, but you know how a lot of it got to the point where it's like, like, even with Oliver just, like, holding the boat, it's often, like, fast, brash action, but, like, what Stargirl does, there's action throughout the episodes, of course, but, like, episode 6 is a big episode, and I can't say anything about it, but there's action in the second season that is just like, my god, the effort that they would have had to have gone through to line up some of those shots, the cinematography with the way they kind of approach things, they have gone above and beyond to make some things cool for you in the action scenes that I couldn't stop writing my bullet points. Jeez, what the hell? Jesus Christ, this is insane. What the, you know, seriously, I was just spamming it. I was just trying to put that down there to remind myself of how well they had done, but then it just kept going. I just kept writing new bullet points of they aren't stopping. And I wish I could just show it to you, but if you want superhero JSA action, multiple people fight, like, think, for example, you remember, like, one of the final fight scenes of season 1 where they were in, like, the ISA or Dragon King's kind of HQ part, where you had Brainwave using his powers and stuff going on, you had Wildcat running up the side of the walls, you had Courtney assisting her as she jumped off the staff or something. It is like that, but they have turned the dial up even more. I really can't wait for you guys to see the specific action sequence I'm on about, but it is truly a steal. And I'm just very happy that they've raised the bar in terms of what you see on something. Well, the fact that this is even on a network now, like CW, and they're maintaining this for this show, and Superman and Lois is really good, but this is a different type of choreography and superhero action that's being filmed. I would say it's just some of the best stuff I think I've even seen if you want to, yeah, the CW overall. Like, even including Superman and Lois, because that's a different type of combat, isn't it? This is like superhero galore of action and choreography. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. And I can't wait for you guys to see the action. And other than that, guys, maybe I forgot one or two things out in this spoiler-free review, but, you know, I can only talk so much, and I've been talking for a while considering this is a spoiler-free video, but you know me, Boba talks. I can't help it. But other than that, Pat, I feel like they've done such a good job at turning the sidekick of Stripesy, and this was very established in Season 1, obviously, and that's the ironic factor of him. He was the sidekick. Never really allowed to do too much things. Poor Stripesy. And yet, like, he is, even in Season 1, but even more in Season 2, turned into this kind of overall supervisor of the JSA. Like, Courtney, you could say, is the leader, but really, you know, Pat is the one who gets the veto vote over everything, you know, so, because he's, like, you know, one of the adults, obviously. So, from sidekick to mentor, Pat is awesome. I love him. I really do feel like he does. If you love Pat in Season 1, just get ready for Season 2. And yeah, I think I'm going to end this video there, guys. Stargirl Season 2, I am absolutely very grateful that I've got to see the first 6 episodes in advance. Just because I get the opportunity to just really, I hope this video served as a hype up, like a springboard for you guys going into next week, because, yeah, you guys are going to love it. Obviously, this starts with episode 1. Episode 1 is a very solid premiere. It sets things up very, you know, slowly and creatively, but also at the same time, it's not a very slow-paced episode. They've got little things darted around various corners, and the intro, as I said, sets the tone of the season, and then the way it ends as well is like they want you to come back for episode 2, so you know episode 1's going to be a great premiere episode. I mean, for crying out loud, the premiere episode of any season is meant to kind of impress you, so that will do the job for you guys. So I cannot wait for you guys to see Stargirl Season 2. I would love to know what you thought of this spoiler-free review. What are you most looking forward to in Season 2? And everything good like that. Just comment anything. I love to read your comments. I read every single one of them. So just spit your opinions down in the comments below. Make sure you don't forget about tomorrow's Titans Season 3 spoiler-free review as well. I will be covering the first 5, I believe, episodes of that. So get ready for my impressions on that. Other than that, guys, I would just really appreciate it if you like this video, share this video out to help me in the algorithm, get more people seeing the review and the impressions of Stargirl Season 2. That would be awesome. As always, ladies and gentlemen, as well, if you want to follow me a little bit more, because I tweet about this stuff even before the video goes live to you right now. So yeah, follow me on Twitter, because I do give a lot of my opinions even before videos are posted there. And there's other links that you may be interested in, like my Discord server and all good things like that. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, maybe if you got this far in the video, let me know by putting the hashtag Eclipso is coming and the shade. And other than that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day. Can't wait for you guys to see this. And I'll see you, fellow members of the JSA, in the next video. Goodbye.